You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcats Lunar Radio Show, where I am finally broadcasting in a free state and no longer California, always spelled it with a K, behind enemy lines. As is always, wait. Today is Thursday. It's Thursday night. It is September the 19th, the year of our Lord, 2024. I want to make sure that I put that in there as well, so that you know who I am and where you are. So, thanks for being here. What I have to tell you, however, is that what you're about to hear for the next 2 hours or so consists of my opinion only, and perhaps that of my guests. So, come into the saloon, sit down, relax, converse. We're still serving stiff drinks and facts. Let's see, facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, tradition, intent, and common sense. And remember, we don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversation. So we talk about it all right here at the saloon. Politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. Everything is discussed right here because the speech is free, but the booze is not. Sorry, ever so sorry. By the way, if you're there, jump into our, get this out of here, boys and girls. Jump into our sumptuous, plush, palatial, and wonderiferous chat room, because if you're in Rumble right now, you'll see, go to the chat room and just click on live chat and you will be there. It's a wonderful place to be. Lots of good folks in here. Thanks for being here. Thanks, by the way, thank you for listening live. Thanks for listening in podcast. Thank you for listening and watching. And also, if you would, while I mention this, folks, let's see. Let me go down to here. If you would, subscribe and thumbs up the show. There's a little subscribe button. Go ahead and click on that. And then while you're watching the show, please share it like a parrot and jump into chat. The only chat room that I monitor is Rumble at rumble.com, because I'm 74 and I'm just insufficiently facile to be able to monitor all this stuff that's going on. It's wacky. It's crazy. I have a hell of a time just starting the show. As my guest tonight, let's turn that off. And let's introduce the act you've known for all these years. JEFF DUNETZ from LidBlog. It's been a long time coming. Let's see. Wait a minute. What are we going to put behind here?
I just have to say something woke. Excuse me.
Okay.
It's not the year of my Lord, okay? It's the year of most of your lords, but not all our lords.
Okay. A partial list of lords.
And you know what?
Not the House of Lords.
ACLU is going to sue you.
I know. It's great, isn't it? Isn't it? By the way, let's see. Should we have a car wash in the background for tonight? Or should we have, I don't know, We the People, or an atomic explosion, or waves, or just a nice, how about some ocean?
Okay.
Or sky. How about sky? Let's do some sky. There's some dark sky right there. Dark sky. That was a great science
Dark
fiction.
clouds are coming to America.
Oh boy, are they ever. So anyway, folks, this is Jeff Dunetz. He's right there.
I know that guy.
Yeah, I know you know that guy. And here's the other thing that I need to tell everyone. Look closely. Look at Jeff. Look at that shirt. Look at that shirt. That is, if there were ever a grand shirt, not to be confused with Grand Funk Railroad, but a grand shirt. I like that. Very colorful. And I don't know if people can see this.
PC.
Always wear color. If you're, by the way, no one knows, very few people know. I'm looking at that. And by the way, I'm colorblind. And okay, I'll tell you a quick story about this. This is how
Love to hear it.
I'm colorblind, always been colorblind. And the only way that I've gotten into various law enforcement agencies to pass the colorblindness test is I always ask the people who are kind of hanging around. And then after they come back, I said, what numbers are in the colorblindness test? And customarily people would tell me. And then occasionally there would be an agency that didn't give that kind of test. So I always passed. I cheated like a bastard. But you know what? Because I'm colorblind, I know my colors. I know red. I know yellow. I know green. I know traffic signals. So just a little thing from me to you. This is so weird. And by the way, nobody can get me because I am retired. I've been retired since 2016. So yeah.
But by the way,
yes, sir.
You only have 2 years.
2 years?
To be able to, well, no, but did you hear the guy who got arrested in Alaska for threatening the Supreme Court people in their
Jeff. Don't think we're not going to talk about that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, baby, we are going to talk about that.
Don't call me a baby. That's 2. You made me like it was my lord, and now I'm a baby.
I know, that's so sad. You know what we're going to do right now, though? We're going to do this.
The bloviating Zeppelins, HeyJackass.com Chicago death toll update. Courtesy of every leftist running that city. From the mayor, police chief, and every alder crap in the 50 wards.
And so thanks for being here tonight. Go to HeyJackass.com, HeyJackass.com, illustrating Chicago values. September to date, shot and killed 26, shot and wounded 142, total shot 168, total homicides 30. Week in progress, September 15th to September 21st, shot and killed 8, shot and wounded 49, total shot 57, total homicides 9. Year to date, this is where it gets impressive. Shot and killed 395, shot and wounded 1,872 people, total shot 2,267 people, total homicides 449. So in Chicago, city of big shoulders, hey, great place, illustrating Chicago values. A person is shot every 2 minutes and 46 seconds, and a person is murdered every 14 minutes. Yay, Chicago.
The bloviating Zeppelins, HeyJackass.com Chicago death toll update. Courtesy of every leftist running that city. From the mayor, police chief, and every alder crap in the 50 wards.
So don't think we're not going to be talking about that, because it buttresses and backs up right to this story. What's that?
That their old mayor, she just did a movie.
You mean Lori Lightfoot did a movie?
Yeah, Beetlejuice.
Oh, that's right. Her? No, you're right. No, good point. And she also, I don't know if you guys realize this. I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to go back into the thing. She doubled as Admiral Akbar. So if you think it was, some character, some CG character, no, it was Lori Lightfoot. You guys are going to love this article. So Chicago decides that it's going to get rid of its gunshot detection system because it's been accused of racial bias. Now, the subheadline is Community groups say shot spotter system sends police to Black and Latino neighborhoods for unnecessary and hostile encounters. So Mayor Brandon Johnson said Chicago is not going to renew its shot spotter contract because gunshots are racist. And so this Sunday, by the way, now this is an older article. This is from Valentine's Day earlier this year, February 14th. And he says when it expires, and the contract expires with ShotSpotter this Sunday, but then the city council slammed the lovely Mayor Brandon Johnson and said, by the way, no, you will be renewing that apparently racist ShotSpotter system. And then he went back. That's why this is news. This is a story from February, but it's news today because now he has said that lovely Mayor Brandon Johnson, Democrat, has said, no, if you put that before me, though the city council wasn't unanimous, he says, if you put this in front of me, I'm going to veto it and I'm going to be killing ShotSpotter. So here's the question that I have for Mayor Johnson and anybody and everybody that was essentially involved in that system. And that's this. ShotSpotter is a system that you paid for. It didn't tell you where to go. You told that corporation where you wanted its system, at what corners. So the people that told ShotSpotter where to go, they're the racists, not this guy. And so they're going to get rid of. This is why this is insane crap, people. You can't write this. Sending cop cars out to areas where you hear active gunfire is racist. Now, perhaps somebody is going to say, oh, why don't you stick wherever the really tony white neighborhoods are in Chicago? There's got to be some. I having never been to Chicago, just flown through it, through O'Hare. I don't know crap about Chicago. But there's got to be some white neighborhoods in there. Well, why don't you stick ShotSpotter systems in there? Could it possibly be because that's a waste of money? It just, again, one of numerous articles where it falls into, oh, geez, wait a minute. Maybe I should have put this under this. This is what I should have done right here.
Tales from the You Can't Write This Shit department. Graciously presented by BZ here in the Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
And see, if I had a producer like I don't have, if I had a producer, that's what you would have had. That's what you would have heard. But I don't have a producer, so you didn't hear that, so we're going to have to move right along.
I have a solution for Chicago's problem.
Do you? What is that, senor?
Find an actor who will, in the middle of the night, on the way back from getting a hoagie, will say they were like beaten up. And that's where they know they could put it.
Shoot, why didn't I think of that?
Although that would never happen.
No, because everyone knows that there is no such thing as racial fraud or race crimes that are hoaxes. That stuff just doesn't happen. This is the United States of America, folks, and everybody is truthful.
Now, here's the funny thing. I'll give you something funny. Remember last year when they said that math was racist?
Oh, gosh, yes, it is.
And it was, no.
No?
Arithmetic. I have a son who graduated cum laude for applied mathematics, okay? That stuff isn't math. That's only arithmetic. So they got that wrong too. It's arithmetic that's racist. You know, math is like anti-Semitic.
That's sad. Okay, so folks, let me show you this. This is lidblog.com. And this is where you want to go if you want to find out about the writings and the thoughts and the musings and the brain sawdust of one Jeff Dunetz at lidblog.com. Now, we're going to talk about a lot of his stories, but the other shindig is that, like myself, Jeff Dunetz has been gone from radio and whatnot for a while. And the reason that I'm heralding his return is because he hasn't been around for a long time. Jeff used to have his very own show right here on SHR Media. And by the way, that reminds me, folks, while I'm thinking about it, let me go up here because I don't have a producer. Go to the newly revamped shrmedia.com. shrmedia.com. Sackhead Sean has completely revamped that. New stories, new articles, new places to go. And you can also see the stream there at shrmedia.com. For those of you just tuned in, it's shrmedia.com. For those of you who want me to spell it backwards, it's moc.aidemrhs. And by the way, just to let everybody know, also, if I can get this out of the way, and I had a producer.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I am BZ. This is Jeff Dunetz. So, Jeff, if you would, regale us with the various, I think there were at least, in the green room, you told me there were at least 1,472 tales as to why it was that you had been gone for so long. Now, with me, it's because I was moving and I had an excuse. So what has, dear sir, Jeff Dunetz, been going on with you in the interveningness, Jeff?
It's easy. Okay. I started out with seizures. Okay. Not like Seizure Rodney, who signed the Declaration of Independence.
Oh.
But anyway, or Julius Caesar. But
I remember the dude.
What?
I remember the dude. He had a great salad.
Right? Exactly. But his arguments were full of holes. Anyway, I had that for a while. And then they gave me seizure medicine. Okay, this is funny because no one thought of this.
Okay.
They gave me seizure medicine, which was fine, but it lowers your blood pressure. I was also taking blood pressure medicine. Okay. So even though the seizure medicine was working, I was still going down the stairs head first. Although the last time I did it, usually it was just plop. But the last time I did it was really one of those cool comic ones where they're going like this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Out of movies.
Right. When that happened, I moved into my den. I slept on chairs. It was my office, my everything. Okay. And I lost all sense of balance and my brain started going. I started being senile.
Holy crap.
More senile than usual. And apparently I had too much spinal fluid going through my body. Okay. And it wasn't from watching This Is Spinal Tap, because that's a good movie.
It is.
And what they had to do is, believe it or not, I have somewhere around here a little thing that kind of drains a little. And when I go to my doctor, he adjusts what I have with a magnet. I also have a tube going from my brain all the way down to an artery. And since that happened, I can walk. I can't think any better than I used to. But I'm back. That's the last 2 years of my life.
Perfect. I think that's excellent. Also, I have to ask you one thing. Go ahead.
I've been miserable since the middle of January 2001.
Why?
I don't know why.
Okay. All right. By the way, I had to ask you because you're draining right now. Do all your clothes get wet on the back?
No, it's so little. It's amazing. It's such a tiny bit. They said if you were watching it, you'd never notice.
So if it's constantly draining and moist or wet, does moss grow there?
Never feel it wet. Never.
No moss.
But it's like a miracle. Okay.
Here lies Lester Moore. 2 shots from a 44. No less, no more. So, Jeff Dunetz, let's go to your site. And again, lidblog.com. And are there any stories that you would like to talk about right here at this point? I think I have an inkling what the answer is, but anything that you want to start with tonight?
I want to start with something that's not up there yet.
Okay.
Okay. There's everyone was going happy about the electronics problems that Hezbollah had this week. The one that first day was hurting the groins,
Right.
second day was hurting the upper bodies and making people blind. Not color blind, but blind.
Like this.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Where they said that there were 2,800 injured, 8 killed. I think the death toll is up because this was back on September 17th, 2 days ago.
That was the pager day.
Right.
Okay. So, and everyone's talking about, isn't that wonderful what Israel did? And da, 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 da. What people don't realize is that's the appetizer. Okay. Okay.
Oh.
That's the antipasta, as I've been saying, because what they did Monday and Tuesday, was that Monday and Tuesday or Tuesday and Wednesday? Whatever they did, okay, that was a cheap parlor trick. Okay. Yes, it scared the Lebanese, the Hezbollah people. They don't know what to do. The actual rank and file. Okay. Because they're afraid to do anything. They're afraid to open the refrigerator.
Well, then after that, I noted it was followed up by exploding walkie-talkies.
Right.
And if nothing else, I have to. Oh, and then folks, there was wait, there's more. There was more. In doing show prep for tonight, I discovered, oh, look, rooftop solar arrays in Beirut. Some of those things exploded as well. And I was thinking, how do you do all this stuff? Because it is wonderfully cool. Mossad, Shin Bet, whoever would be the assignee of something like this, you got to admit, this is clever. This is like the CIA trying to poison, who's that guy from Cuba? Fidel Castro, poison his beard and his cigar.
Wasn't he a baseball player?
Fidel Castro?
Yes.
He was number 32 in, I think, 57, 58, right around there.
Okay.
For the Cuban Banana Republics. I think that's who he played for, the Banana Republics.
Yes. Okay. And
so why is this the appetizer?
Do you know who's also on that team?
You're going to tell me.
Bernie Sanders.
Ah, okay. Good point. Wait a minute. Where's this? Nailed it.
I haven't had one of those in like over 3 years.
I know, it's true. And by the way, folks, for those of you who are unfamiliar with why I do that, when one of my guests, or occasionally myself, make a point that I think is importante, muy importante, I do that. Jeff just did that himself, by the way. So Jeff Dunetz, one each, please continue.
Okay. So here's the bottom line, okay? Israel, Hezbollah's been bombing Israel for like weeks, about 150 missiles a day, not a lot. Hezbollah has about 150,000 rockets already, which is more than the average terrorist group. Oh, wait a second, militant group, because they're not terrorists. And I think it was 86 or 96, there was a UN Security Council resolution. It was actually a deal made by Lebanon and Israel that Israel pull its troops out of southern Lebanon, and from the area from the Israeli border to the Litani River, which is about 20 miles north, there'd be nobody there except for UN troops and Lebanon's troops. Okay? Now, on one hand, Lebanon government was controlled by Hezbollah.
Right.
So, ha, ha, ha. On the other hand, okay, the UN hates Jews. So let me tell you something. It took about 30 seconds after Israel left for Hezbollah to start moving in and shooting at Israel. So Israel's looking at this and saying, how can we take away the nonsense people are saying about Gaza? And some of that, believe it or not, now this is going to be surprising. Okay, so sit down for this.
Okay, hang on. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, some of that's coming from, well, it's being initiated by what's his name, Biden. You ever hear of him?
Oh, the one that I am occasionally want to call Joe Vegetable every now and then. Okay.
He's always, how he says Netanyahu won't make a deal?
Right.
Every time the United States proposed a deal, Israel said, okay. But when Israel said, okay, Hamas said, oh, we don't want to be with those Jews. But Biden blames Israel.
Well, as do most people. Folks, let's go back to this and let's remember that back in October of 1983, 2 truck bombs go off in buildings in Beirut, and they were housing American French service members of the multinational force in Lebanon. And 307 people are killed, 241 U.S. people and 58 French personnel, 6 civilians, and two of the attackers. And that was, who was that, by the way? Jeff Dunetz responsible for that?
No.
What?
No, I did the one in Queens, New York.
Okay. Well, basically, the elements of Hezbollah bombed the United States Marine barracks. And that was essentially the largest loss of U.S. military personnel to that point since World War II. Just thought I'd point that out as well for everyone.
Yes.
So what is then coming, do you believe?
Yeah. Okay. So Israel think it's got legal reason to go into Lebanon, just to the Litani, because they made a deal, right? And actually they do. And they've been training for this for months. Okay. And the chief of staff for the Northern Command says, oh, don't worry. We got more stuff than electronic bombs. And pretty soon they're going to go in. Okay. Except for one thing. Blinken.
Go into Lebanon?
Oh, yeah. They're going to go 20 miles in.
Okay.
Blinken, Lincoln, Blinken, and Bog.
Yeah.
He said today, we think all parties should not, it should not make the tensions even more. He was talking about Israel.
Well, of course.
So I thought that it would be great for him to put a target on his chest and stand in front of 150,000 missiles. What do you think?
That might be a good idea. And that also might be this. It might be a good time for a break. I'm BZ. That is Jeff Dunetz. And you're listening to The Saloon right here on shrmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, are you guys listening? This is Shannon from Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media. I know you've been wondering where we are and what's been going on. Well, folks, that's right. We're back. So please join us 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday on SHR Media, on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, and Facebook Live at 11 a.m. on Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM at Facebook. You don't want to miss a minute. We've got lots of guests, lots of segments, and lots of interesting things. And let's face it, there's nowhere for you to go, so you might as well tune in. Again, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. We're back live on the air on SHR Media, 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday, audio and Facebook Live, audio and video. Yes, we are going to do video Facebook Live, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Hope to see you soon.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
Unleashed Jeremy Hansen, the most explosive pro-American podcast on the planet. Pro-MAGA, pro-Trump, pro-conservative. Come join the resistance. Fight for what really matters in America. 5 p.m. Central on UJHLive.com, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Pandora, or MAGABook.com. Come join the resistance and fight for America. Unleashed Jeremy Hansen.
Do you value yourself, your family, your friends? Want to know more about how to survive, thrive, and stay alive in these dynamic times? Listen to Around the Campfire with Kate, Thursday nights and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, only on PSN TV. That's Around the Campfire with Kate. News that nobody in the MSM wants to report. Remember, train hard, train smart to survive, thrive, and stay alive.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to BZ's Saloon. I'm BZ. That's my guest tonight over there, Jeff Dunetz. Our sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room awaits your glorious presence. So while on Rumble, just hit live chat to enter, and you'll find some great people there. Share the show. Subscribe to my show. If you would, pretty please. I either get vodka or a porcelain Dalmatian. I don't remember which, and it's almost immaterial. So thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for watching. And I am back on Twitter. I don't know how. Well, I do know how. Sackhead Sean was able to help me, and Jersey Joe. By the way, Jersey Joe is in the chat room right now. Both he and Sean managed to help me get back onto Twitter and pull the rug out from the old Twitter, and now I'm on X. Twitter, X, okay, same thing. I'm at BZ's Saloon, BZS SALOON, at BZ's Saloon on Twitter, on X, and my understanding is that apparently it's going to be going back to its original name, Twitter, but who knows when that will be. So, by the way, Jeff Dunetz, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. How are you doing, sir?
I was just asking, if you have 2 computers or 3 computers, do you have XXX, like the movie theaters in Manhattan?
No. By the way, movie theater in Manhattan seems to be no bueno. You'd have to bring your own towel, vacuum, various cleaning utensils.
Remember what happened with Pee Wee Herman? What he did is he put a hole in the bottom of the popcorn bag.
Oh my!
That was Pee Wee's Playhouse.
and I guess the great thing was that no matter where he went, Pee Wee's Playhouse went with that. So we were talking before what might be coming up next for bid. And I have some of these. You know, it became immediately meme central. It's like this was one of the first memes that I saw. And I had to, as a matter of fact, that meme made me wonder, okay, something happened out there that I'm not aware of. So then I started researching when I first saw that. Then there was this. And of course, more memes. Hey, who had pagers for September? This one. And when people look at that, they tell me, okay, it's taking me a little bit to understand what this means. You'll get it. Eventually you'll get it. This one I like too. Radios, pagers. We talked about that. This is one of my favorites.
Ouch.
That has got to hurt. That's from James Woods, who, by the way, happens to be a genius. Still isn't getting many roles because he's a conservative in Hollywood. That's the way that kind of crap rolls. But in any event, Jeff Dunetz, what is coming up? Because you are heralding the fact that more poop is coming. Can you clue us in as to the potential nature?
It's not a potential. Okay. People are saying, what are they going to blow up next? They're already bombing Hezbollah, and Hezbollah is already sending 150 rockets a day average into Israel. So that's what the next explosives are. Okay. And it's going to get worse. And, Israel's been training the IDF, and it's going to happen soon. I mean, they're doing too much training, and there's too much, when Hezbollah started bombing, sending missiles over to northern Israel, the people who in northern Israel, they left their houses and they moved. I mean, but the houses are still there. And one of the things that Netanyahu said he'd do was that he'd make it that people could move back into their houses.
Okay, I've asked you
just one more thing.
Sure.
You know how Biden keeps saying how much he hates Bibi?
Right.
And he's wrong when he does it, because like I said, I don't know if I said this to you off or on, but Israel's accepted every deal that the United States has offered. However, when you're talking about Bibi, no one hates Bibi more than Israelis. Okay. When you look at it, he gets around 30, 31, 32 seats on his own and puts together a coalition. Okay. There are 120 seats in the Knesset, which means he's getting about a quarter, a little, maybe up to 30% of the vote. 70% of the people are voting against him.
Okay, that brought up a question that I was going to ask you, so we may as well do that now. Now, you and I, on prior occasions, and I have posed this question probably every time that you and I have met, and we will get into politics in just a little bit, rather than the war that is occurring right now. Oh, let me ask you this. You said that there's missiles coming in. Now, are those missiles that are coming in simply from Lebanon only, or are there those that are being lobbed in from Gaza as well?
Well, no, the 150 a day, I'm talking about the ones coming in from the north.
Okay. All righty. I have two questions. The one I'll wait. The political question I'll wait a little bit later. But you beat me to this one, and there's got to be more detail to this. From the October 7th attack through Gaza into Israel, where Israelis were absolutely slaughtered, drones, machine gun fire, rockets, you name it.
Oh, it's worse than that.
Israel was attacked. The human
They didn't
tragedies.
use rockets. They basically opened the fences, went in, they shot up people, they actually burned babies, okay?
Yes.
In front of their mothers, or shot the mothers in front of the baby. It was, and it wasn't rockets, it was just man-to-man disgusting massacre.
Mayhem.
No, massacre. I mean, I got to tell you something. Mayhem is funny. You know what I'm saying? But this was and I talked to my friends in Israel. It's how good people like us felt about 9/11 after it happened. Okay. Around, after 9/11, one of the first things that hit me was I always thought America was invulnerable, at least the 48. And then it was like, oh my God, we're not invulnerable anymore.
Well, we didn't learn.
Well, no, we just voted liberals.
We didn't learn from the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, and we didn't learn from the bombing of the USS Cole, which again leads
Don't
me to
forget
this.
the Americans who bombed the Indianapolis City, the Tim McVeigh.
Oh, right. Yeah, Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
The
Oklahoma City. It
bombing.
was like, even though it wasn't the Islamist, it was just like it should have alerted us that we were vulnerable.
Well, here's the big question. Here's the conundrum that I have. People talk about, well, tell me if you remember, because I didn't. I should have researched this to have it here today before me, but I didn't. How many people were killed? How many Israelis were killed in that October 7th massacre?
About 1,400.
Okay. Now, the point I want to make is that that's 1,400 in terms of the size of Israel. So I would say if you were talking proportion, that would be not dissimilar with, say, 10, 15, 20,000 Americans killed in the United States because of the size of the two nations, in terms of proportion.
It was half of how many died on 9/11, because 9/11 it was 2996.
Right, almost 3,000.
Right.
So the thing that I don't understand about Israel and Israelis is people were saying after October 7th that Israel had apparently taken its eye off the ball. They had an inkling that there were tunnels all over the place. They knew that the people of Gaza had voted Hamas in as their government twice, if I'm not mistaken. And yet many elements and many individuals in Israel were shocked when this occurred. So that tells me Israel, like the U.S. on 9/11/01, we didn't learn what we needed to learn. All of these things had happened before us. Certain personnel were not talking adequately in terms of the intelligence services to one another. So it seemed to be that Israel took its eye off the ball, and then, okay, it paid for it. Now, the second question, not a separate question, but part of all of that, is that you mentioned that Netanyahu is not, I guess, for lack of a better word, a beloved man in Israel. 70% of the people, as you indicate, are not for him. So
they vote for people who will be part of his coalition. There's a right wing and a left wing. And worse than Netanyahu, they hate his wife. But that's something else. It's something different.
Okay. But what I don't get is how can Israel be attacked in that fashion on October 7th and Israel not want Netanyahu to respond? So if you don't do what he's been doing now, then what do, I don't know, 70% of Israelis, what do they want? You're this little teeny postage stamp company.
Let me just correct you for 1 second.
Country.
Okay. Do you remember how we all came together after 9/11? How the United States, everybody but Ted Kennedy came together after 9/11?
Sure.
Israel's been unified until they got sick and tired that there were those damn people being kept by Hamas. Those people that Hamas, this whole time, and people don't understand this. Netanyahu and the Israeli government, this is what our supposed allies say that the minute you give up all the hostages, you do that, we'll stop fighting. It was as simple as that. Okay. but it got too much for the Israeli public that there was still hostages. And that's when things started to fall apart. And, it wasn't like our peace marches in 1968. This was like generated by, and I don't blame them, the parents and the families of the people that Hamas had in tunnels. So it's kind of different, but it has nothing to do. Well, it has nothing to do with whether you like Bibi or not, or the coalition or not. It's just that they were in power, and I want my uncle back. I want my father back. That's really the issue. And when you hear that there are 150,000 protesters in Israel, you bet, because they want their family back.
Okay. I understand the emotive side of that. When people are killed, slaughtered, massacred, I understand that point. But if you don't like what Netanyahu is doing and you're upset, then what's your plan? You can't just bitch about people being killed and massacred in your family. There has to be a response, or it will continue, as history proves, and it will only get worse.
Well, let me tell you something.
So if hang on just 1 second. Hang on just 1 second. So it's an if-then equation. If you don't like what's happening, and if you don't like how Netanyahu is responding, then what's your plan? Get out of your emotions and think about your country and the survivors and the people remaining in Israel. I've never understood, I'll make an admission right now. I'm not a good person. When I pass away, I can't tell you for a fact that I know where I'm going, because I'm going to say this. In my estimation, considering the history of Israel should have mobilized and gone into Gaza and wiped it out. I mean, turn the crap into rubble and then bounce the rubble. I'm not talking nuclear. I'm talking go in and just level the playing field. Civilians are always going to be casualties. I get it. Look at World War II. One of the worst allies. We bombed the snot out of civilian cities just to stop the war. But terrorists and people like this, they only understand violence. So that said, that's Beezy on his little stupid violent platform right there. How can Israel continue to survive as the postage stamp that it is, surrounded by enemies of all stripes directly next to them, and not attempt to support everything that Netanyahu is wanting to do? That is such a massive conflict in my brain.
That's the question, and that's the problem with this, is what does he want to do? Nobody knows. He hasn't set up this is what we're going to do. Okay. Now, I was in Israel 2 days before they gave up Gaza. Okay. And everybody in Israel more people were in Israel were in favor than Americans. Okay. Americans kept going there and protesting. But Israel wanted to give Gaza back to Egypt. Egypt said no freaking way. Okay. Because that's where it started.
And they wouldn't take emigres.
Right. Well, no, they were told, this is Gamal Nasser, like years ago. No one was allowed to take in immigrants. Okay. And there were more Jews being thrown out of Arab countries than Arabs being thrown out of, than Arabs leaving Israel. Okay. And Israel absorbed them all. However, okay, when the UN is dominated by the Arab, but not the Arab nations, the Muslim nations. Okay. Which unfortunately, most of them are controlled by Islamists, the bad guys. There are good Muslims and there are bad Muslims, just like of everything else. And the Islamists are the bad Muslims. Okay, and those are the ones that control the UN. Well, that and a couple of anti-Semitic countries. Now, my favorite, though, are our European allies, okay, because they got the same gonads as the ones the other day who got theirs blown off. Because every time there's an anti-Israel resolution in the General Assembly, you know, they don't vote. Okay. So they don't have the guts to say, okay, this is stupid. Okay. And these are supposedly the good guys. The good guys are the bad guys. Okay. In the history of the last couple of years, you know, and it could have been worse, though. I mean, Obama could be president for another couple of years.
Well, essentially, he is.
Well, no. This is a stupid version of Obama. Obama was, you know, they love Obama still. And I don't understand. Obama won with the Jewish vote.
See, that's the question that I'm going to save for the next hour. I don't want to go with that right here. And you and I have discussed this any number of times before. You tried to make it make sense to me on prior shows, and it didn't really make sense to me.
We've been talking about this, you and me, for like 20 years.
Oh, a long time. Since at least 2004. That's
Right.
when I got my blog, and that's when I discovered your blog at lidblog.com. And by the way, those people who wanted to see Lidblog, there it is right there. He has his own blog that he started. Well, I started mine in 2004. When did you start yours, Jeff? Before that?
No, I think it was like a little after that.
Okay. Anyway, lidblog.com. This is his site right there. Tons of stories that you can see.
And I have a partner. Okay.
And there's another individual who writes. There are tons of stories. You post probably at least twice a day, 3 times a day, something like that.
I do like once a day, and Warner does 3-4 a day.
Okay.
Warner Todd Houston is my partner.
Okay. So you're very active on that lidblog.com.
I had to bring him in because of my illness. I had problems
to keep things going.
Yeah. But okay. Well, let's get into that later, Nick. You know what I was going to say with the political angle.
Well, then let me throw this out because we've got about 7 minutes before the top of the hour break. October 7th was a massacre last year. Many Israelis died under circumstances that are the most foul. And since that time, Netanyahu, who has responded, is not in favor with the Israeli people, as you indicated. And you tell me if I'm kind of summarizing this adequately, because
I was giving you a history, not now necessarily.
Okay. But mostly because there was a problem getting the hostages, and the Israeli people sense or are thinking that Netanyahu doesn't have a plan. If he has a plan, let's see it. What is it? So
that's my opinion, not
okay, but that's why you're here. I'm here to dredge your opinion because you have a lot more insight than I.
What I'm saying is when they don't know what they're going to do with Gaza. That's what people looking from above are thinking. Okay. The problem, the people who are angry with Netanyahu in Israel now, it's because, they just like Biden, they're upset he hasn't made a peace agreement. Why? Because they want their family back. And I can't really, this isn't like, like I keep saying, this isn't like when we didn't want to go into a war in another country. This is like, they took our people, they took our family. We want them back. And
Okay, so how many hostages are there yet remaining?
last I heard, it's about somewhere between 100 and 110. So they're about 100 died, killed.
Okay, and they believe that the hostages are yet still in Gaza.
Oh yeah, they think
Okay.
they're all in Gaza somewhere. The city that Biden keeps saying, I don't want Israel to go into, that's actually where they killed the 6 people. Okay. That's where they have the most tunnels. It's kind of like the subway hub. That's where all the tunnels lead to, kind of.
Okay.
Okay. And they won't let them go there. I mean, Biden says that there are too many Palestinians. Well, excuse me, that's a mistake that I just made that people make too. Israel isn't fighting the Palestinians. Okay, Israel is fighting a terrorist group called Hamas.
Yes.
Okay, and the people of Gaza, they also don't like Hamas. Let me tell you something. You know why Hamas won 2 elections?
Please tell me.
You're going to say no to a terrorist organization when it tells you to vote this way?
Okay, then let me ask you another pertinent question, which just entered my brain.
Okay.
The people of Gaza, are they armed like crazy, or are they completely and totally unarmed, disarmed by Hamas? In other words, they cannot defend themselves.
Yes.
Is that true?
The ones that aren't part of Hamas
are unarmed.
That are unarmed.
Okay.
But you know what? I got something funny to tell you about the flyby media. We got time?
We got about 2 minutes before the top of the hour break.
Okay. News media is saying that those pager and walkie-talkie explosions, right, was not targeted enough. Okay, now think about this. These were electronics that were sold directly to Hezbollah.
Yes.
That
okay, wait a minute.
Okay.
They weren't sold to citizens. They were sold to Hezbollah, as Jeff Dunetz just affirmed.
It was like a mass order, It wasn't like it was, in a Best Buy. Okay, this was a direct order made by Hezbollah, which first it was and it just so happened to be ordered from a company that was a shell company for Israel. Oops. Okay, so no one got hurt. No one got their hands on those blow up electronics, except for wait a second. I shouldn't say that. The Iranian ambassador, who shouldn't have had
a Hezbollah pager,
he got hurt.
So
he got hurt with a walkie-talkie.
In summary, and before I go to the break, people are complaining because this was insufficiently targeted, because individuals of Hezbollah were issued pagers and walkie-talkies, and then it went to solar panels for a little bit, but I didn't hear much about that. And now people are kvetching and bitching that was not sufficiently targeted. And that's about the time when you go, AYFKM. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's like working for a company and they buy computers for all their people to work on. It's the same thing, except It was electronic mobile equipment. Okay. They bought them all for the other terrorists, for the terrorists. You know, even if they could afford them, which they can't, the Lebanese people couldn't buy them. They were all bought for, you know, Ahmad, the dead terrorists.
And with that, we're going to go to a break. I'm BZ. That's Jeff Dunetz. And folks, you're in the saloon. We'll be right back.
Media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
It is he that is me, bringing perspective from across the sea. Join me, Jack Alexander, 4 days a week for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the news and issues affecting life and liberty here in the USA. I'll show you what the mainstream media refuses to. Politics, border security, defense, healthcare, travel, nothing is off limits. Catch the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast each Monday to Thursday on Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere good podcasts can be found. Also, check out the website, www.jackalexanderexperiment.com.
Come listen to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show, Tuesday and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, for the best in late-night conservatarian wireless talk radio at shrmedia.com. Raised as a free-range child with dirt and freedom, BZ is broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. Jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room at shrmedia.com. Now, with 18% more umbrage and 20% more bulbosity than previous shows, and with delicious Liberty additives. Remember, BZ realizes that with great beard comes great responsibility. No chinchillas were harmed, embarrassed, or the focus of any sarcasm whatsoever in the making of this ad.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
After 6 years covering terror and corruption, the Unpleasant Blind Guy is making a change. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker and YouTube through SHR Media and on the Western Free Radio Network as I team up with Jeff Mitchell, host of the English Defense League radio show on blogtalkradio.com. Check show pages for airtimes. It's the Unpleasant Blind Guy.
On EDL Radio.
There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I am back. I am BZ. You are in the saloon. And newly revamped with your mind in mind, go to shrmedia.com. SHR Media on the SHR Media Network. And thanks for listening tonight. Share the show. Please subscribe to the show. You want to be in the sumptuous and palatial and resplendent chat room? There it is right there. When you're in Rumble watching, and you're watching live, just hit live chat. If you would, please, just hit live chat. We're talking to Jeff Dunetz tonight, and I just wanted to make this very briefly that my cool little dog, it's been 3 months now since our rescue dog Angus passed away, and it was on Father's Day, June 16th, at the age of 13. And we only had him for about 3 years because his original dog mom, who raised him from a pup, had him for about 10 years. She passed away following a vehicle accident, and her son didn't want him, but we sure did. And so we rescued him. We took him home. We discovered what a brave, stalwart, cultured. This guy had culture and class. He was refined and an amazingly kind dog boy. And we miss him every day. We think of him every day. All dogs go to heaven. He went there too. So fair winds and following seas, my beloved dog boy. 3 months, and it seems like yesterday, and it seems like it's been at least a year. Very strange thing. Tonight, we have our guest, Jeff Dunetz. He is here in the saloon, and we were talking about Israel, how Israel... Jeff Dunetz, I'm seldom speechless, but let me ask you this way. Let me ask you this. Okay, the citizens of Israel, if I'm understanding you correctly, have said, get our hostages back. They have to care about something else. They have to care about everything and everyone that's on their border. So, I don't know, other than get the hostages back, what's their plan and what's Netanyahu's plan? Because it seemed to me like when I saw all this stuff, I'm just going to go through the memes. I just have a couple of them right here. I thought, this is just brilliant. How in the hell did you manage to get this equipment so incredibly targeted to these people that just that op, pagers, walkie-talkies, solar panels, that's worth a book just by itself. So other than get me the hostages back, what do the citizens of Israel want Netanyahu to do? And what does Netanyahu himself want to do? There has to be a plan. What's the plan?
It's different there, okay? The defense minister doesn't need the PM's, the premier's approval to do something.
Okay.
It's a totally different system than even regular parliamentary system, okay? I was actually once running to be the minister of ice cream, but I didn't get it. Yeah, they want their family back. It's as simply as that. It was, as you started this discussion, everybody screwed up. Everybody had their eyes off the ball.
Yes.
And all Hamas had to do is, walk across the fence. And they attacked people, most of them, the kibbutzim, that were right on the other side. Okay. And the defense minister screwed up. Bibi screwed up. Excuse me. The intelligence screwed up. And yeah, the people are angry about that. But right afterwards, they were unified. And the only thing that's splitting them up again, it's not whether we should protect ourselves or not, but it's, hey, are you doing enough to get our family back? Which I don't know what I would do, what I would say.
Okay. And again, I'm going to go for the rational versus the emotive. I get the concept that people are upset, but at one point, and I get the concept that there are still hostages outstanding. But Israel cannot afford to be a one-trick pony. That cannot be the only thing upon which Israel focuses. What's your plan? So get it out of the emotive and start making some damn plans. What are the people saying that they want from Netanyahu? Do you make a deal? Do the people of Israel want, okay, let's make a deal with Hezbollah. We're tired of having missiles incoming. Let's do something. What's the plan? There's got to be a plan for the citizens and for Netanyahu, because you can't just say, we want our hostages back.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, you better have a plan to do that. I'm not going to be sufficiently assumptive to think that I even remotely know what Israel is going to be doing to that. But you can't just think about, okay, boohoo, our hostages. I get it. So what are you going to do about it? Israel to protect yourself, not just the hostages.
Saying Israel.
What is your plan?
You're saying Israel, okay? It's not Israel, okay? You know,
Make me understand.
okay. First of all, you got to understand. You know that old saying that you get 3 Jews, you have 10 opinions.
Okay. That is funny, but yes,
But it's true.
Yeah.
Okay. The way the parliament, the Knesset, is chosen, okay, is lists, meaning all these parties, they have a list of 120 people. And if you have 5% or more, or it might be a little less now, but 5% or more, you can get a share of those 120 people, of the 120 total seats.
Okay.
So like when I say, Bibi gets about 25%, that's why he has 25% of the seats. Okay. Well, that's why he has 31 seats. Okay. So it's a different thing. It's like, how like you got Republicans and Democrats fighting now?
Sure.
Well, put that over like 13 parties.
Well, that's got to be a cluster.
Oh, yeah. What I tell people is if you think American politics is bad, is fighting.
I thought UK was bad.
No. In my opinion, Israel is bad. And it's because they try to give everyone a voice. And that you and I know that there's a big difference between democracy and republic.
And a republic, yes.
And most Americans don't understand it, but they're a democracy. And it's scary in everything they do. And you talk about Hamas winning the elections in Gaza. Do you know who let them originally be included?
In the Knesset?
The prime minister. Okay. Israel did it. Israel said, yeah, sure. Instead of saying, no. They can't do it. And as soon as they did, and everybody knew as soon as they did that, it was going to become as soon as they did the tossing, then it was like, very, very amateur rockets, but they were doing it as soon as they got there, as soon as Israel left. And Israel left them industry. Okay. Israel left them advanced, what do you call it? The advanced buildings. I mean, they had greenhouses that were far and above what everybody else in the world had. You know what the first thing they did was? They tore down the greenhouses.
Oddly enough, I remember that.
Okay.
But you're dealing with, in my opinion, and you striated it into Islamists and those who aren't. And for those who are Islamists, they're uncultured barbarians.
No, they are. They're not uncultured. Let me tell you something.
Okay, then I'm missing a lot of this.
The difference between an Islamist and a regular Muslim is the Islamists are political. Okay, they're like political Muslims. So they have their objectives is to take control of other countries, take control. If you look at the caliphate, that is trying to take over the world. If you read the Hamas charter, okay, and the PLO charter, which still exists, even though the PLO is, it still says the destruction of Israel. The difference is The Hamas charter says the destruction of Israel and then taking over the rest of the world.
Okay.
They are Islamists. They are political Muslims, not the ones that do their prayers 5 times a day. They do too. It's a show, but they're the ones who are looking for political, for territory, for politics to take over governments. Those are Islamists, and that's the difference.
Okay. Then I still have to go back. So I understand that Israel screwed the pooch. We screwed the pooch terribly on Afghanistan.
Yes.
We left at Bagram under Biden and Harris. We left billions with a B, billions of dollars worth of technology and equipment behind because we were not interested in taking it with us. That's all in planning. You know, the leaving of Afghanistan was one of the biggest cock-ups easily avoidable cock-ups in recent U.S. military history. A 5-year-old could have figured out what to do. You don't evacuate the soldiers first and leave the citizens behind. You don't give up the military base and force everyone over to the civilian base. And then that readily and easily resulted in 13 Americans being killed. Like I say, a 5-year-old could say that, could see that. So
it's more than that, because the orange bad guy had a plan that he negotiated with the Taliban that was a step-by-step thing. And every time the Taliban screwed up, America was going to send in more, not going to take out as many troops. Okay. And they had an orderly, the military figured out an orderly plan of how to do it. Biden said, I don't care. Trump said that. So we're not going to listen to that. We're going to come up with our own thing. Hey, everyone get the hell out. That was his plan.
And Milley and Austin were morons, and they didn't recuse themselves, and they didn't resign. As far as I'm concerned, that's disgusting. They're disgusting. Most of the people that are in the upper management of the military today are disgusting sycophants. But still, I go back to this. And this is, Jeff Dunetz, this is what I'm having the biggest, hardest time trying to understand.
Okay.
If Israelis don't like Netanyahu, and he has roughly, as you indicate, 70% of the opinion against him. And let's say, for example, that.
However,
let me finish just for a second.
Okay.
And then I definitely want you to respond. And if they don't like Netanyahu and decide that they're going to pull him out by the roots, who's next? Why? And what do they expect that individual to do that Netanyahu cannot do? Okay. That's the part I don't get.
Well, when I say that, it's really all, they know what the coalition's going to be. They know what the right side's going to be. They know what the left side's going to be. And usually the difference is 1 or 2 seats either way. So it's not that they don't like, it's they choose their government weird. I mean, and if you remember 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where they had 4 straight elections where they couldn't, it was because they couldn't make a coalition. Okay.
No, like Canada or the UK.
Right. And they had enough people on the right side to get it, but they couldn't make nice. So all those leading parties, they could all become, and that's the other weird thing. You can have somebody who has 2 seats in one election and 20 in the next. I'm telling you, it's wacko. Okay. Before Menachem Begin. Remember him?
Yes, I remember the name. Yes.
Yes, because one of Joe Biden's first international meetings was with Menachem Begin. And Menachem Begin read him a new asshole. But anyway, maybe that's why he's so mean to Israel. But the Liberal Party from actually before Israel was formed, but they were the provisional government through up until Menachem Begin won every election, and by a lot. And they set up this socialist thing called Histadrut, which is kind of like the Teamsters, okay? Everybody, or more like the AFL-CIO, okay? And they did strikes. It's funny because years ago, everyone was in Israel was on a strike for some reason. The closest anyone ever came to not needing a coalition, Golda Meir 1 year had 56 seats. She was 4 seats short. So everything's been a coalition. Okay. Now, you have this right wing. I hate the word right wing because traditional liberalism is really right wing. Anyway, you have this coalition.
Yeah, boy, that's a story for another day.
Well, but am I wrong?
No. Oh, absolutely. You're not wrong. But that's a topic for an entire hour to 2 hour show just by itself.
But what I'm saying is that it's hard to get things done in a committee when the government is run by a committee. Okay. And yeah, the people are upset that they're not getting their families back. Okay. And like they keep saying, I don't blame them. And they don't have to have a plan. They vote these guys to have a plan. Do you understand?
Okay, so
they elect these guys to come up with a plan.
All right, so Israel, not entirely like the United States, is splintered. It's badly splintered.
Because it's
people aren't
not a republic.
Right. It's like 1 point, 1 vote over the line, and there you go. There's the direction we're going instead of a republic. So splintered, I get that part. Still, if it's clear they want their people back.
Who wants the people back?
The Israeli citizens want their hostages back.
Right.
Sorry, I should have been more specific. Good point. But there's a massive splintering, and there isn't anybody, including Netanyahu, who can sufficiently rally everyone together, suggest, here's a plan. In it, we're going to get our hostages back. And we want to do this, this, and this in response to Gaza in the first place, Hamas in the second place, and Hezbollah in the third place, and Lebanon in the fourth place. So am I assuming that this is all just random and kind of scattershot, and nobody yet has the political ability to gather everybody in some kind of unity to agree upon that's the word, that's where we're going. We're going that direction right there.
Okay. It's my judgment, because I haven't seen anything, that they don't have a plan, at least the ruling coalition, or it's called the government, has a plan for what to do with Gaza after the war. Okay. Their objective right now is to wipe out Hamas. Okay. And they've almost done it, but that last piece will take a while. Okay. Especially because if you have Biden telling everybody, well, Israel's killing all these civilians. Okay. And nobody does what Israel does. The United States doesn't do it, okay? Israel, before they're going to bomb an area, If you remember, they were telling all the people in northern Gaza to go to south, and then southern Gaza to go to north. Remember that?
Yes.
And Hamas was in the middle saying, no, go home. They're not going to do anything. Okay, that's number one. Do you know that before they're going to bomb a neighborhood, Israel not only drops leaflets, but they actually make phone calls. They have this, like you get with all the politicians. They make phone calls that say, get the hell out of your house. We're going to bomb it. Okay. And then they go do what's called banging. Okay. They drop bombs without explosives on top of houses. So they know that the next thing is going to have a blow up on it. What do you expect? And they don't care that the world doesn't care that Hamas is shooting from schools. They're storing weapons from there. The Hamas the headquarters at one point was below, like 2 floors below a hospital. Okay, that's called human shields. Don't give a shit. Okay, because Israelis are bad. Maybe because they like the orange guy. I don't know. But Israelis are bad and everybody else is good. Okay. So it's not quite what you're looking at it from an American perspective. As an American.
Guilty.
Okay. And what you have to do, and I was like that too before I started talking to different Israelis. I have a friend whose 2 kids one was up north, and the other kid was one was up north. She's a medical person, and the other one was in Gaza fighting. So yeah, they were fighting, and it wasn't so much the fighting. Nobody wants their kids. It was like, why are we not getting these? Why aren't we doing something to get the hostages back? And the people, they're now moving troops from the south to the north. And let me tell you something that people are
Israel. Okay, Israel is moving troops south to north.
Right.
Towards Lebanon.
Right. Now, here's the Hamas. Their basic objective was to take what they're doing now. They're getting worldwide approval, right? And use it to get Israel to go back to the 67 borders. Okay, because that's the first step. And then the next step is getting rid of all of it. Okay, by bringing Hamas into it, bringing Hezbollah into it, what Israel has done is taken the world opinion, not taking them, they still hate Israel, but now they're looking at something else too. So kind of like hurts Hamas's ultimate goal, because they're not the only ones, the only ones in the world anymore. They're not they're other terrorist groups are involved, and Hezbollah, with their 150,000 missiles, are thought of in the world as bad. Not like the Hamas people. The Hamas people are, they're terrorists, but you know what? They're controlling people. Hezbollah took over a government, and, they're moving into Syria a little. Okay, so they're the bad guys. At least
let's hold up right there, because I need to take a break. And folks, I'm BZ. That's Jeff Dunetz. He is here tonight. And I want to ask him when he gets back, okay, then perhaps some more specifics into what he's hearing about Israel itself. And I'm BZ. You're in the saloon, and I'll be right back after this.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Southern Sense is conservative talk with Annie, the radio chick you bellows as host, and C.S. Bennett co-host. Informative, fun, irreverent, and politically incorrect. You never know where they'll go, but you'll love the journey. Annie is a top conservative host on Top Talk Radio and features some of the finest guests packed with important politicians and newsmakers. Listen every Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern, noon to 3 Pacific, on the SHR Media Network. Remember, Southern Sense is common sense.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Hi, this is Eric Thompson. Please check out my new weekend review show, For Liberty's Sake, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Check out forlibertysake.com.
Hey, are you guys listening? This is Shannon from Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media. I know you've been wondering where we are and what's been going on. Well, folks, that's right. We're back. So please join us 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday on SHR Media, on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, and Facebook Live at 11 a.m. on Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM at Facebook. You don't want to miss a minute. We've got lots of guests, lots of segments, and lots of interesting things. And let's face it, there's nowhere for you to go, so you might as well tune in. Again, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. We're back live on the air on SHR Media, 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday, audio and Facebook Live, audio and video. Yes, we are going to do video. Facebook Live, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Hope to see you soon.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the saloon. I'm BZ. This is the final half hour of the show. So at every half hour, I've given you a break to go use the electric winkle chamber to perhaps knock down some alcoholic beverages, something I may be doing myself, perhaps at the conclusion of the show. I want to remind everybody that you are, in fact, listening to the SHR Media Network. And while we're at it, go to shrmedia.com, completely reworked, revamped. You can watch the show right there, shrmedia.com. And I also want to say this. Come on, producer, let's go.
Folks, this is BZ's final hour. Step up. Last call for alcohol.
And I'm not kidding. Tonight, we're talking to JEFF Dunetz. Jeff, welcome. And this is our final half hour. And in this, we've spoken about this before. Okay. Oh, God. I don't know why I'm going to do this.
You're not, oh, God.
Yeah, I know, but
that was George Burns.
That's right. Good point. Very good. Let me see if I can summarize to date. Israel has plans. Those plans involve some kind of a movement, perchance, into Lebanon. The citizens of Israel obviously want their families, their friends, their hostages back. Bibi Netanyahu is not their favorite person right now.
No, not just right now. You know, I talk to a lot of, and maybe I'm talking to the wrong people, but I'm talking to right wingers, okay?
Okay.
And people on the right. And yeah, they think that, you know, Bibi has become someone who's probably in government too long. He's been running the country too long. And, people are tired of him.
So he's too hawkish, too dovish, or it's
Political.
just time out, no bueno anymore. Just give me somebody else. I don't care who. Give me somebody else.
No, he's too much of a politician.
Okay, break that down for me. He's not handling things like he should.
Some things he is, some he isn't. Like, there are a lot of investigations about it, but there were always investigations on Israeli prime ministers. Okay. But
too much of a potential corruptive smell. Is that kind of what you're saying? Too
Some
much of
people
a
think so.
corruptive smell from Netanyahu.
But that's only part of it. Okay. He's been around too long. People are tired of him.
Okay.
It's like he's an old car. And on top of it, his wife is buying a lot of crap on her husband's salary. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but they don't like her. And she might take advantage of some of her prime minister wife's stuff. Like they always did with Nancy Reagan. Except this one she deserves.
Okay, so granted those things are occurring. I think the next logical thing that I'm thinking, which doesn't mean that Israelis are thinking that, is who's waiting in the wings?
Everybody.
So the people that want power, they're fractured too. They don't have any person around whom they can gather and come to any kind of anything even remotely considering a consensus. Consensus?
No, it's the opposite. You know how we talk about one issue voters?
Right. Yeah, sure. Like Democrats.
Abortion,
abortion, hot and cold running abortion. By the way, did I say abortion?
You did.
I did.
Yes. However, okay, there have been candidates have, like I said, have gone from 0 to 30 seats in one election, and then the next one back to 5 or 6. Okay, because they've resonated with the public on one issue, okay, or one concept, more than one issue, one concept. Okay, so it's not abortion, but it's women's health, which isn't a problem in Israel. But you understand what I'm saying?
One-trick ponies, one-trick pony voters. That's their issue.
One concept, okay? Yeah, one concept. But, that's not all the time, and I'm trying to think. Naftali Bennett was, actually he was a longtime partner of Netanyahu. As a matter of fact, a lot of the higher ranking parties are run by someone who used to work for with or for Netanyahu.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's a clusterfuck.
So I don't need my drink in the.
But BZ, let me explain one more thing.
Okay.
Yes, everybody thinks that security is the number one thing.
How could it not be? See, that's the thing I don't get. Israeli is the historical 1948 postage stamp that everyone is trying to run to the ocean and making no bones about whatsoever. In the meantime, Israeli is thinking, okay, let's see. Here's my navel. Let me think about this.
No,
that's not what's happening.
No.
Out of all this tonight, out of 2 hours, I have not grokked much at all.
What they're saying is find a way to get them home.
Right.
It's not, hey, open up the borders and let everyone, like Biden does, or give all your guts to Hamas. It's find a way. And if it means doing a peace deal with them or a ceasefire, what people don't understand when they, let's negotiate a ceasefire. And that's when they did October 7th, Hamas broke a ceasefire.
So why would thinking human beings with the history of terrorism and the history of Israel ever consider for suggesting you said when the war ends, either at about 20 minutes. And I thought when the war ends, the war is not going to end. The war is an endless war. There is no ending of the war. The war is not going to end. Israeli people have to understand that crap.
Much better.
And so you're negotiating with terrorists, and we want to cease fire because that's worked so well in the past.
But they have no choice. Okay, they want to go to school. They want to go to the supermarkets. They don't want to have to go to into a shelter every other night. Okay. They don't have good beer in there in the shelters. Actually, don't have good beer anywhere in Israel. But
yarmulke beer, I heard that's pretty good.
What?
Yarmulke beer. I heard that's.
Well, actually, they have in the United States Maccabee beer. Okay, it's battery acid with piss.
Okay, quick story. I went on an extradition to Texas.
When there is and this is just my view, not necessarily the Israeli view, but looking down on it, when there's a ceasefire and everyone's doing a ceasefire, there's a time to take a breath. And there is something else that Biden actually fucked up. Okay.
Not shocked.
Because the actual, this Abraham Accords thing.
Okay.
There was actually a plan because the big countries, well, maybe not Iran, but like Saudi Arabia, they were tired of the Palestinian shit, because every time Israel offered them something good, they said, okay, 3 times Israel offered them like 98% of what they wanted. Okay, and 3 times the Palestinians, the Palestinian Arabs said no. And let me explain why I say Palestinian Arabs. Because before 1948, the Palestine that was run by, that wasn't it was just a name that was run by the British government, was both Jews and Arabs.
Okay.
Okay. So technically, and the other interesting thing is they're all saying, oh, we want to have like 5 jillion people move back to Israel. There were only about 25,000 of those original people from 1948. It's probably less now, that are alive. But the ones that kept in the camps are their children, their cousins. You know what I'm saying? So the Palestinian issue really should be like this. Okay? But the UN has and it's the UN who hates, my opinion, not only, well, this is the other thing that people don't understand. Oh, well, I don't hate Jews. I only hate Israel. Well, guess what? If you hate Israel, you're just as anti-Semitic, okay? Because the Jews, Columbus Day, what's the other holiday on the same day?
I couldn't tell you.
Indigenous Peoples Day. And who are the indigenous people of the Holy Land? Ding, ding, ding.
Wait a minute. I have one of those.
damn Jews. Okay. And you know how I know that? Not only because of the Jews, our years in Judea, Samaria, and the rest. I'm not Christian, okay? But where was Jesus when he turned over those tables? By the temple, because they were, where was he?
Oh, the money changers?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was by the temple, wasn't he?
Yes.
Where was the temple?
Okay, you're going to have to fill me in on that one. See,
It
I
was in
told you.
Jerusalem. I actually have a document from the Muslim wave that controls that from 1938 that's talking about how, there's no doubt about it, that was the location of Solomon's temple. Okay. Now, I don't mean that Solomon's temple was like BZ's Bobcat Saloon. They're talking about the temple built by Solomon. Okay. So the Muslims thought so. Any Christian that thinks that Israel should give back its land or Israel is wrong is not following their religion. It's simple as that. And you know what? And I'm sorry if this insults anybody, but he might be your God. But growing up, he was a nice Jewish boy. Okay. He thought his mother was a virgin like the rest of us, and his mother thought he was God. Whatever happened after, you know what I'm saying?
He was just a nice Jewish carpenter.
Right. Well, no, I don't think he was a carpenter.
Wasn't he? No, I'm sorry. That's right.
His father was.
His father was. See, I can't even get that right.
But what I'm saying is any Christian who fights what Israel is doing isn't following their own faith. At least the book of Luke. And I'm not talking about Darth Vader's son. Okay.
Yeah. True.
That's really my problem with another problem with what's going on. And when I don't know if it was this Pope, the one they made quit, or John Paul II, who was screaming about the protection wall. Okay. I can't believe that the head of the Catholic religion actually forgot his own Bible. I find that scary. Am I being blasphemous?
No, but I think a good portion of the understanding that people must have about the Middle East revolves around Jews and Muslims. And because it's centered, as you indicate, in Jerusalem, and that in and of itself is a terrible historical conflict.
Not historical. It wasn't historical until Yasser Arafat started saying it was.
Okay? Well, I mean,
they never said
the Dome of the Rock.
Yeah, but
Christians holding it for a while, Muslims holding it for a while.
Let me tell you something. If you look at the history of that land, okay, it was the Romans, okay, and they changed the name from Judea, which is really where the name Jews come from. They changed it from Judea to Syria, Palestina. Okay, so that's where Palestine comes from. Okay, and then it was I'm trying to remember before the Ottomans. But it was empire versus empire versus empire, and then the Great Britain, who, next to Germany and France, is the most. Do you know that Jews weren't allowed in Great Britain until I think the year was like 1500?
I did not.
But worse is the Netherlands, because it was the year 1800.
And again,
the whole time they were always allowed in New Jersey.
I would suspect that's a feather in the cap of the state of New Jersey, even though Phil may not think so.
But I'll tell you one thing, what people didn't know is that, yes, people came in from Ellis Island, but the ones that were escaping from Eastern Europe, they were coming into Galveston, Texas. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, that's my great grandparents and my grandparents, they were coming from Ukraine.
So that's what Glenn Campbell was singing about all that time ago when he was singing about Galveston.
Right.
Okay. Now that kind of makes sense to me. But as the SHR Media Network and the Sackheads in the Sackheads Radio attempt to make sense out of the senseless, I'm getting, this has been a great show. Jeff Dunetz, I am so glad to see you back. Not one thing was resolved, but at least what was affirmed to me is that don't feel bad, BZ, because the same thing is true in Israel itself.
It's true for the entire world thinking about the Middle East. And that's the truth. Nothing's been resolved. You know, in August 1929, okay, a bunch of Arabs, the city Hebron, a bunch of Arabs, I think it was August, came into the city and killed all the Jews. Okay. So we're talking about something, it's been going on for a long, long time. And nobody's figured it out yet. Trump, he had a plan and it was working. His plan was get enough people outside of the Palestinians who are sick and tired of them to make peace with Israel. And then the Palestinians would go, holy shit, we're here alone.
And brought the embassy to Tel Aviv. Nobody had ever tried that.
Well, everybody promised it. No one ever did it.
Well, okay. Yes.
But what I'm saying is that Trump had a great plan. And again, you know, Biden, if it was done by Trump, it had to be wrong. And he
yes.
He dropped the Abraham Accords. And that was the real purpose of the Abraham Accords. You know, be outside little guys, you get them first. He was this close to Saudi Arabia when he lost the election. Or no, when he was getting out of office. This close. And if Saudi Arabia joined it, everybody else on that side of the Islam, because I keep forgetting who's a Sunni and who's a Shia. I think that they are Shias. But everybody on that side would follow. Okay. Because, and again, I can't, my brain is fried, but one of them follows Saudi Arabia. The other side of the faith follows Iran.
Iran, yes.
Okay. Which Biden's trying to make buddies with. Whee!
Yeah, but you're also going to piss off a good percentile of the rest of the Middle East.
No, you're not. What, by making buddies with them or not?
Well, Sunni and Shia. People don't, when they talk about the Middle East, people immediately forget about the Sunni and Shia equation. Oh, God, that's another thing that I'd love to talk about someday that I don't have time for. We got about 5 minutes left, and I got to have a couple of minutes for the outro. So let me ask a final question. Jeff Dunetz. And by the way, this is where, let me put this up. This is the headquarters of Jeff Dunetz, lidblog.com. Lidblog.com. This is his homepage. Writes a ton of stuff. You can find things under climate, culture, economy, faith, morality, foreign policy, Israel, media, politics, U.S. news, Patriot Depot, and rightreportlidblog.com. That's Jeff Dunetz.
Sadly, they wouldn't let us do porn.
Oh, darn it, Jim. Son of a gun. But in any event, I want to ask one final question for the night. And of course, we're going to have you back. But the final question is a question for our times, I guess. What do the Israelis think, or do they have any thoughts whatsoever about the upcoming November 5th election and or Kamala Harris versus OMB Donald John Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head? Do they have any opinions or thoughts one way or the other?
I can only tell you what the Israelis that I know have said.
Okay.
And they're correct. That if you thought that Obama was bad, and in my 67 years on the earth, he is the most anti-Semitic and anti-Israel president in my lifetime. If you think he was bad, she's going to be 10 times worse. Okay. Because he was a socialist trying to be a moderate. She's a socialist trying to be a communist. Okay. And if you look at what her history is, and then she says, but I'm married to a Jew. Okay. There's no such thing as a self-hating Jew. They're Jew-hating Jews. And that's what her husband is. Okay. Do you know that her husband's a lawyer? He represented the PLO. Okay. So this is her husband, the Jew. Okay.
That's another article, another issue for another day that you and I have discussed. And when we have you back, I'll probably end up discussing it again with you. I don't get the whole thing about Israel and American Jews and politics, and they're absolutely foaming over the Democrats. I don't.
That's easy though.
I just don't grok that concept. Oh, don't answer right now, because that way we can have it on another show. And we can have you back and then talk about
Go
that.
to my site and look for Kamala, search Kamala Harris, okay? Because there's an article I did a couple of weeks ago, I think sometime in early August or late July.
I'm looking for a search field in your site, and I don't see a search field.
Man.
Or I would look. I swear it right now.
Well, I'm telling you, keep going back because it's worth it.
Okay.
Because there's an article she talks about what a great prosecutor she's been. When she took over office, her predecessor was working on this really big case that he's gotten all the information and all the victims about priests.
Oh, the Catholic Church. Yeah,
right?
The Catholic Church in San Francisco.
Well, guess what?
She dropped it.
He dropped it. She destroyed the evidence. Okay. And I'm not saying this was related, but she happened to have gotten a lot of campaign donations for people who were supporting the priests. The Vatican wasn't supporting those priests. Okay. But she was.
Yeah. Again, a story for another time. Folks, that is, wait a minute, there we go. Jeff Dunetz, and we will have him back in the saloon. And Jeff, thank you ever so kindly for being here tonight. I greatly and greatly appreciate it. And this is customarily, as we do, this is how we'll go out. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for being in the saloon. Thanks for listening to my opinion. We talked about it all. Well, see, here's another thing. You can't see this. It's on the other side. I have about 30 tabs set up of all the stuff that I was going to talk about tonight, and I got to 3 of these things because that's half the fun of raising me, is I can't figure out the right stuff to talk about. Well, we talked about some things, and it's only a 2-hour show. always there's more. Always, always, always there's more. So anyway, promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works Shure and Electro Voice microphones, Arrakis boards, and also Pratt & Whitney engines thrust you can trust. Did anybody see my shirt tonight? Pratt & Whitney engines. Tiaras, of course, are by My Little Pony. And as I am wont to say, thanks to my KC-135 Kettle One refueling team with whom I will be consorting in less than about 15 minutes or so. About 50 feet that away. Thanks to Jeff Dunetz for being in the saloon tonight. Thanks for you listening live. Thanks for you listening in podcast. God bless. Take care, everybody. Be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night and good luck.